So Tony Brooks did a third swing analysis of K, and here's a picture of Tony Brooks. He has a YouTube channel called Lion Golf Academy with lots of good videos. And on most Sunday nights, he has a show called Red Light Live. And you can get a free golf swing analysis. Just send your front and down the line golf swing videos to info@liongolfacademy.com. And here is Tony.
So this is Steven's, somebody's helping with, and she sent in, I think this is the third time. So we're just going to do a little quick checkup for her to see how things are going. So we had some issues with her alignment first, then we had some issues with her ball position, then we had some issues with forward pressing. We had a lot of issues with her left arm not being able to stay, relatively straight at impact. So we're just going to go over this and make sure that we're keeping her kind of in check. But things are looking a little bit better, Steven. They're definitely looking more like fluid. And I'm noticing these golf balls are still moving right. So we'll take a look at why they're moving right. And okay. All right, this should be fairly easy to diagnose here. So let's take a look at what happens to that club face first of all. We'll do the lower plane line, upper plane line, so we can see that the setup changes. Now, I know we talked about moving that ball, a little bit in a position to help her. So we can see that if we move that ball position up towards the left side, there's two ways to get there. One way is to turn to get there, and the other way is to tilt to get there. You would like to tilt to get there, because if you turn your upper body to get there, you can see what's happening here. So we have right forearm facing left, and this is slightly open. So this will change your path depending on that ball position. But then you have to realize, are you manipulating for that path? Let's see here. She had a bent left arm address, causing heel shots with the iron. We straightened the left arm, and she had the ball more in the center of the club. Perfect. Okay, so at least we're getting center strikes. So let's just look at why it's curving to the right, because that's going to be a fairly easy fix. So for anybody who has alignment issues with their upper body, just realize why you have alignment issues. If that ball's too far forward, it could be a ball position change. But if it's too far forward based on your tilting address, just be careful how you get to that golf ball. So if you go ahead and grab your hands in the middle and you can tilt, that'll bring your hands out in front, or you can turn and that'll bring your hands out in front. When you turn, you have this sort of issue. So Steven, a good way to do this is get her in that posture, how she is now, with her openness, and then take an alignment rod and kind of shove it in between her forearms. So you want to kind of pretend it goes here and then sticks out there, okay? And then you want to pull that alignment rod so it'll kind of close her up a little bit. So her right elbow might feel like it's a little bit more flexed to get that to be square. So that's number one. Setup does look better. We can see that it's almost there, Steven. You can see she's still sitting back on her heels a little bit. So remember, feet just pull them back a little bit to allow the center of the arches to support the hip joint. Because if they don't, that's going to be some issues with ground loss. And we take a look. Yeah, and this could also be, so let's say you are open. You're going to over-exaggerate that first motion to close you up. Now, when you do this, look at that right leg. The right leg's completely stuck. So when you straighten out the right leg, you put yourself at a disadvantage to kind of push into the left side. So we might see more of a slide than a push. We don't see a lot of foot motion. And what we'll do is let's do it from the face on so it makes more sense. All right, let's see. So right here. So we're going to draw the knee tilt. So knee tilt, and then the hip tilt works just the same way. So the hip tilt's going to match that knee tilt. So when you have too much knee tilt, it's going to push your hips differently, and you won't be able to store up weight correctly and drive it correctly. So she's going to be so busy trying to, untilt her hips instead of focusing on driving. Now, when you turn, there will be some hip tilt and knee tilt. It's normal. But when you have too much, because one's straightening, one's bending down, that might cause you, remember, this is all connected. So if you were to stay upright and be able to stay in balance, your upper body would be your level point. So you can see how much her upper body had to move over to compensate for this. Now, when she moves over, it might not look like she's moving over to us, but according to her hips and her knees, that's the red line is where her spine should be. So she is still trying to move over, which will give her the illusion of weight transfer. Now, when you have that illusion of weight transfer and you're not really transferring your weight, you're just staying upright. So she's just staying where she is, right? So this creates complex issues with how the foot works and how the feeling of weight transfer gets involved. Because as she strikes it down into it, see that first move is which she's trying to untilt her hips immediately. But you see, it doesn't come from weight distribution because the right leg is staying straight. It's just coming from, I need to untilt my hip somehow. So it's more of a manufactured untilting, and that robs her of the sequencing, that robs her of weight distribution. And then she is doing a much better job, though, of finishing. Look at that impact. So we can see that she is able to at least keep things connected right at impact. Let's back up. I don't know why I did that. So look at that right there. So she's got a great ability to keep that club connected. But think about, she's doing that while, dealing with that lower body issues and probably dealing with that alignment issue. Now, if you take a look at the club face, if we see where that club face is right before she strikes the golf ball. So let's go right here. So let's go to the top and see. So top is kind of gets lost there. So it's a little bit open. So there's the club face. There's her left forearm, a little bit open, not too bad. And then right there, I think it opens up more. But let's see the important part. Okay, now it's pretty straight to the left forearm. Right here, it's open to her spine angle. So she now has to close this somehow to strike the golf ball. So we probably see, if that's her range of motion, she has to time that, right, to make sure that club is square. So depends. If she has the ability to stay more connected with her turn, the club face won't be as open. It might be here. So there's less manipulation down at impact. But as she strikes it, you can see that club face is getting pretty close to the heel again and open. And then comes the closing of it. So here it is closing down, not as much. So she is late with the close. So that's probably why she's getting that starting fairly straight, maybe a block every now and then, maybe a pull every now and then, depends. But we do see a big motion. You can see that ball right there takes off, and then it gets to this area, and then it starts just curving, and we can see it's in there. So it definitely is big curving right about here. So yeah, we still see that curve right. But overall, I think it's good changes. I think you just got to work on the alignment with the upper body, making sure that's all squared up, and then the hip tilt, because that's going to rob her feels, and then also how to untilt her hips instead of weight distribution. So let me know if that helps you. If you need any more information, just let me know in the comments. But we're moving right along. Are we going to be able to do this? Yeah, we got a few minutes left. We can squeeze some in here.
So thanks for watching. This is Stephen Vig in San Antonio.